Hey everyone, it's the Sith Justice Warriors coming at you on a lovely Easter evening with your hosts Jaded Fan and Princess Lumpia.
Hey, we made it to Easter and Passover. So
Yes,
happy to both.
yes, and
Happy to all who celebrate. So
hope you all stayed safe. And if you could see as much family or connect with them, I think at the end of the day that's what's important, right? So
yeah,
hopefully everyone out
exactly.
there um, got a chance of that, and if or whatever, right? All right, so let's start with the games before we'll get to our typical rundown of the Winter Soldier Falcon stuff. So, um, what I've been noticing, a couple of things with the news. It started about what, a week or two ago, where you had the Bethesda acquisition. People are starting to kind of groan a little bit about how the possible exclusivity of some games. Then I saw this article by my man Paul Tassi.
Oh
Shout out to your
boy.
Destiny
Oh
coverage.
boy. Oh boy.
He was basically saying that outside of Destiny, because all his friends are there, he's thinking about if I don't know. He didn't say he's thinking about it. He is switching over to the Series X because of Game Pass. Then I saw this article from Tom's Guide, Marshall Honoroff, 2 days ago that said the PS5 is great, but I can't stop playing my Xbox Series X. And oh yeah, in the whole midst of all of this was so Lopia, you're not familiar with this. The PlayStation made an exclusive baseball game known as MLB The Show. Are you familiar with it?
No, I am not.
So baseball is interesting because baseball, many have tried, but very few have succeeded in making a good baseball game. And
Yep.
I can see like how Madden owns football
Yep.
and 2K owns basketball. Like at the end of the day, people just go to one. And when it came to baseball, the only one standing was MLB The Show. MLB The Show is a PlayStation as of last year PlayStation exclusive, meaning if you were an Xbox only person and you love baseball, you had to have a PlayStation to play MLB The Show. This year,
Interesting.
this year, Sony San Diego, uh, they made MLB The Show on PlayStation and Xbox and PC. So that was a shock because a lot of the console war stuff is about my exclusivities, right? My
Yep.
exclusivity. And so, okay, they're like, well, honestly, it made a lot of business sense for MLB. Baseball needs to grow their brand, and if baseball is an avenue, they need to reach as many customers. I think for Sony probably tried to make that exclusive, but MLB said, I need to grow baseball. And so at the end of the day, they are supposedly the best. I've never played MLB The Show, but there's a reason why I'm going to be trying it now. Um, not
Nice.
only is not only is it on Xbox, it's on Game Pass.
Game Pass. I knew it. I knew it. I knew you were gonna say.
It's day one Game Pass. It's just hilarious. So Sony took the money, and it's crossplay. So like if you have friends on PlayStation, you have an Xbox, vice versa, you could play with your friends on even PC. I It's funny because a lot of people on Twitter were angry. The Sony folks were like, "Hey, you're technically giving MLB The Show for free for Xbox people, but you're not. You're charging us $70 if we
Yeah,
buy the
for the
PS."
people who have a PlayStation.
Yeah, um,
Uh,
that's. I mean, dude, that's tough, man. You pay five
I
hundred
mean,
dollars, man.
well, I'm sorry, but Game Pass was the end goal, and like, I think this is a test for Sony. It's kind of interesting, like that they went with this, but you're right about something. I mean, there are a lot of MLB fans out there. I cannot commit to watching all the MLB games, but like from a game perspective, I never was an MLB game like type of person. So you got to have reach. I can see why they did it, and it's almost like a in a weird way, it's almost like both a PR move and like you got to get people into the franchise, and the only way you can is to reach people outside of it that would never even spend the money on it. So it just makes sense. Maybe it's just for a limited time. Maybe they might take it off of Game Pass. I mean, you and I both know things drop off after a certain amount of time on Game Pass.
Yeah,
There's
I
only
mean,
so much the
I,
servers can handle.
well, there's definitely it's going to drop off eventually. I think the question is, you know,
Is this going
well,
to lead to more? Yeah, probably if it's
yeah.
successful.
Well, I think one, I think the interesting thing about it is it's about engagement now. So even if you took it out a year, I think I just to have people playing it like Destiny, right? Destiny is all about the world being lived in, and we could talk about Outriders and my initial thoughts on that, but like that's an example of that as Sony, I'm not Sony Square, learning from a game that's a live service that should be focusing on engagement, but missing the mark multiple times with their characters. Sorry, maybe I'm off base on that, but it's about engagement, like having the world being lived in by other players, and I think that's what MLB was thinking. So, well, specifically Sony was just so odd. Like it's one thing if Sony put it on Xbox, but then they put it on Game Pass, meaning I think they're using this as a test case because one, for MLB, this was always going to be multi-plat when they announced it. But then
Yep.
two, I think Sony's looking at their service, which they interestingly started doing this try it for $1, their PS Now version, which is like really the older games. I think they're testing to see if people are willing to sign up for things and you know do these subscription services because Sony's got a long way to go if it wants to. Number one, what they should do is just put things day and date. I would buy this. I would buy PlayStation Now if I could, if that was the case. But yeah, a lot of people are clearly unhappy about
I
that.
would be pissed because, like, if I was a diehard MLB, whatever this game was, MLB what?
The
MLB
show.
the show, like, and I was like waiting for it, like, I would be so mad that I have to pay for it versus the $20, what is it? $20 subscription for Game Pass gets me it. Like, it's like, man, like that's kind of a ripoff, but I get it from a business perspective. It's also a test to see, like, what what it means for them, like, as they produce specific games only for the PlayStation. Sometimes you just gotta go with the flow, so but
I
I
mean,
didn't know that. I didn't even see that article, and that's probably because I'm not into this game, but it's just interesting what else would be next, you know? It's a good one to test because it's safe and it gets them what they need, it gets them data, and it gets them, like, the reach that they need to get more players into the game, so,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing about these articles is they then I feel like when you never saw these articles, which showed the pros and cons of both systems. And in all honesty, I'm just shocked that Xbox in year what is this? So November. So what's that? Like 6 months.
Yeah.
It's got more positive press. Another thing that also hurt Sony, which made Microsoft look better, was they were ending the stores of their older games. So if you like, for me, this would suck. Play for PlayStation 3, PS Vita, PSP games. Like, granted, they're old systems.
Yep.
Like, I bought Persona 3 digitally for my PlayStation 3. If I wanted to play it, number one, my PS4 can't play it, which is a backward compatibility issue. But then number two,
Even
if I
though it's digital? Oh, backwards compatibility, you
doesn't
said,
have,
okay.
yeah, it doesn't have backward compatibility, so you better pray your PlayStation 3 works. And then number two, let's just say I wanted a digital copy, I can't get it after a certain date. It's gone, right?
Well,
Yeah. Whereas Microsoft is still allowing you to buy Xbox Fat, the original Xbox games. So um, yeah, I
wow.
mean, it's interesting that the things they made fun of, like, oh, Microsoft is putting more effort to backward compatibility than their new games, and now you're seeing the fruits of the labor, right? I'm not here to knock PlayStation because I am looking forward to their exclusives, but at the end of the day, we're buying ecosystems, and that's why. I mean, for me, I stuck with Microsoft because I know that they can make a better ecosystem right now than Sony.
Yeah. And that's I agree with you to that extent is like, and I was not an early adopter of Xbox, to be honest, but neither was I an early adopter of the PlayStation beyond 3. So it is interesting that you say it that way because you're right. It's about the future, like future looking, because something's got to change. And the more mobile we are, and the more we are on our phones, tablets, like the need to have the gaming at our fingertips is going to be like this whole cloud based trajectory makes so much sense. So yeah, we'll have to check it out. Like we'll have to see what happens. But this is interesting news because I think we were both speculating before with the Bethesda purchase that at some point Sony would have to make a decision about how they want to interact with Microsoft in the future. Because at the end of the day, Microsoft is leading the way in this sort of space. And with the purchase of Bethesda, some of those games become Xbox exclusive and they all will go to Game Pass. Like, so it's like, how do you compete with something that someone didn't need to pay for? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perception of free, and I hate I hate when people tend to forget like MLB is not free. MLB is part of your subscription you pay for. I'm not knocking you, but a lot of
Yeah.
people use the term that it's free. But
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's not. It's part of the subscription.
but you get a lot of games for it.
Like, what is it? $20? Remind me. I have it, but I
15.
can't remember.
15.
15. Okay.
But
So
you're
for $15 a month, and you're not. Yeah. So for $15 a month, you have access to this game, basically,
well,
and
15 if you
many
buy
others.
Ultimate. If you buy Ultimate with the
Yes.
PC cloud, it's $10 if you just want to pay for the console. But I think honestly, for people who are, may have to get kicked off of your TV or you want to play when you're traveling, I think $15 for cloud gaming is, not perfect, but it's pretty good.
I
Right?
just thought of something really scary. I don't know if I want to say it, but I will. Just because I want to explore this thought as we just talked about it. Like, do you think, and this is like a sort of tangent, but it made me think of it when we mentioned how much Game Pass is. Like, is there a point where we won't be able to, like, they'll cap how many games you can download?
No, I think it's
It's
so
just the
the
library. So you basically have access to the library and you can download all of the games if you want, if your hard drive permits it.
pretty much.
Wow. Okay. Anyway,
So
I
when you
hope
do
it
the
doesn't
math,
come to that.
right? So like when you do the math, or let's say you buy the $15 Ultimate subscription, and it's 180 a year. Like I like to stress that out. It's if it was $60 a game in the prior generation, we're moving to $70 now.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of 3 games a year.
Yeah,
And
which isn't that bad.
most people, I think someone put a statistic, they buy 2 games a year. With the advent of Call of Duty being free, Fortnite being free, um, you know, I mean, honestly, a lot of these games at $70 competing with the time for like a Fortnite or a Call of Duty Warzone. Like Sirius keeps playing that game. I can never get him to play Monster Hunter or something like that, or Division.
Well, because
Like,
there's a new thing where you respawn in Call of Duty. So,
yeah,
like, it's like a new thing for him.
I don't even know why people buy the new Call of Duty. Just a lot of people just play. Like that's my point. Is like it's hard for someone to justify paying $70, knowing that you could get similar experiences in multiplayer for like free. It's crazy. Like, did I thought Halo came out saying the multiplayer was free.
Oh wow.
I Let me Google that because I thought that was also another one.
But does PlayStation Network allow Fortnite to be free? I thought they did.
They do.
Okay, but you have to subscribe to the network to get it.
No, it's like if you play Destiny, you need to pay for the network.
Okay.
So it's very similar. It's very similar to yeah, it is free to play. Halo Infinite multiplayer is free to play. Yeah, I I mean Halo's another one that's a huge multiplayer backing. How do you
Yeah, I
compete?
know. I just
Like,
don't think anyone's playing it. But yeah, I mean, you actually
oh
brought up something that you said about like what Paul said, like all his friends are on Destiny. I will tell you something. Not you're like probably the only friend I have on Destiny. So I don't know where all these people are coming from, but apparently they're clogging up the servers sometimes when I decide to play.
yeah,
But
yeah.
when I talk to my friends about people I know, they're like, "What is Destiny? I don't play that." Like I'm like, but apparently a lot of people do. But anyway,
Oh, it's that much of a player. Like Bungie knows, for example, the player base is so important that they were willing to take the money to get the Xbox people to be locked into Game Pass to have engagement.
she
We're living in the world where it's about engagement, where you can monetize people to buy stupid things like the Rickroll for an
oh
emote.
god.
Sorry,
Yes, this is true. This
sorry.
is very
I
true.
like you know what I mean. Like for example, if Destiny actually the base game is free, you just can't do things like kill hippos and
Or
that
the
fantastic
seasons, right? You just need to buy the
seasons.
seasons, which is what they've learned. The best way to get my money is to do that. So yes, I agree with you. They figured out the best mechanism to get me to spend money because at the end of the day, I probably spend more than had I just bought the game.
Yeah, no, it's true, and like that's why I love Destiny. It's like I don't feel like I have to jump in and learn the lore and all that stuff. So, but we
Yeah.
kind of went on a bit of a tangent. But I think that Sony, they have a lot of great IP. They gotta maybe this their business model will work, and maybe this is going to be the very interesting thing where Microsoft ecosystem, a live worlds, whereas PlayStation is the cinematic movies. You got to pay for your copy, selling the hardware, then getting people to pay for the copy. I'd like to see how this works out because let's be real, it's a very interesting new world where Amazon is about to. Did they launch Luna yet?
Oh, I don't know. Let me look.
Yeah, I mean, look, like if Microsoft's willing to put 10 billion to get Discord because actually Amazon was in the running to take it, right? Could you imagine if Amazon took Discord and just basically took Twitch? Amazon would own Twitch servers and Discord if they bought it. That's everything, like
Yeah.
basically, right? Um, Bethesda, right? Microsoft. The rumor was that Microsoft bought Bethesda because Sony wanted to make Starfield's exclusive.
Yeah.
The space game, the space RPG that they were. So,
I'm kind of
uh,
pissed. I wasn't asked to join Amazon Luna first. They asked me to have Alexa first, but they wouldn't let me have Luna first. How dare they?
yeah, well, This has only been what 6 months in the generation, and it's actually very interesting how it's. I hope it's competitive because I want Sony to fight for my dollar. So we'll see. I This is not a bash on Sony. This is more of a kudos to Microsoft for turning it around in 6 months in terms of perception.
Yeah, but there's also something interesting that you brought up before we wrap up on this because it's a good segue to our other topic. But like the thing is, and maybe this is the way it's gonna be. Sony is the way it was before, and that's the traditional, like you said, sell the hardware, buy the copy, and then Xbox will be the cloud support. Like perhaps that's the way it needs to be for
That's the
everybody
only
to
way they
win.
win.
Yeah, that's the only way they win. So it perhaps that is exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yep. So before we move away from games, I have
No, wait. Yeah, you have something else that you wanted to talk about.
yeah. Well, I'll skip through. Like, let me do this really quickly. So, Outriders again. Told everyone I would never have touched this game if it wasn't for Game Pass. But having touched it, it's a competitor for my time. And playing it on a Series X is so beautiful at 60 frames. I'll give a more in-depth thought as I play through this. But let's go to what I really wanted to talk about. Screen Rant. Are you familiar with that?
Yep.
Some article named Marvel's Avengers, every hero in the game so far ranked. So there's 8 superheroes
Wait, they
in the
rank them?
Avengers game. Yes, what?
They
Sorry.
rank them?
Oh,
No, go
they
ahead.
rank.
Go ahead. Sorry, I said they rank them. Okay,
Oh,
go
they
ahead.
rank them from
Go
eight
ahead.
to one. So, do you want me to do the whole like dog and pony show, or do you want to get to the meat of who's number
All right,
one?
get to the meat. Well, I kind of want to know the 8. There are 8.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
okay.
go through it fast and then get to the nitty gritty.
Oh, come on. Okay. Hulk is number 8. Iron Man is number 7. Do you see where this is going?
What? Okay,
Black Widow is number 6.
before Iron Man.
Do you know
Okay,
where this is going?
I do know where this is going. Is this legit? Anyway,
Yeah.
keep going.
Number 5 is Thor. This is. I mean, you're already getting away from. Number 4 is Captain America. So let's pause there.
Wow, that's
Let's pause
shocker.
there. So the pillars of the MCU can't even rank in the top 3 of this.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Go ahead.
All right.
So
Number
we have
3.
Kate Bishop left, Hawkeye, and we have you know who.
Surprisingly, number 3 is Hawkeye. Do you want to guess which Hawkeye?
Kate Bishop.
No, Clint. Clint is number 3. I'm actually surprised. They gave
I'm
Clint number
surprised.
3.
Yeah,
Okay, guess who's number 2?
Kate Bishop.
Kamala Khan.
No
was shocked.
way.
Kamala Khan is just perfect. Sandra Saad clearly loves the character and puts her heart and soul into the performance. Her character arc combined with her beautiful chemistry with each Avenger makes her lovable. Miss Marvel is also the perfect representation of a true nerdy fan. She is a believable and very human character that leads to the campaign better than any of the big Avengers ever could. Did you hear that? She's better at leading the campaign better than any Avenger could. Then there are the polymorphic abilities that make her a solid
God.
brawler character. Because you never
Polymorphic.
saw someone stretch and change the physiology of their body the way Kamala Khan did you?
No, because we've never seen Reed Richards. You can't say that name. You can't
No.
say that name.
Oh, we'll get into Reed Richards. Kamala is also a supporting character with her healing ability. Did you know that she could heal people?
She can heal herself. I knew that.
But she can heal. She has better healing She has better healing factor than one
And
Logan.
Wolverine, right? Wolverine, who's only lived for so long.
Oh no,
But
no.
yes, I digress.
But isn't it shocking that she's number 2? Because number 1 is Kate Bishop.
I'm shocked she's number 2. I would have thought she would have been number 1 since she was the lead character in this whole design.
I'm shocked, but Kate Bishop's number 1, and it's because Kate's funny, super likable, and she's a complete badass. What is there not to like about Kate Bishop?
It's kind of
First off,
funny. She should have been the first one then.
I'm gonna tell you what. This Hawkeye TV series better be goddamn good, because these people are hyping up Kate Bishop as if she's the friggin' bee's knees. Did you know that she's an archer and a sword wielder like Hawkeye, but her arrows have different uses, which combined with her teleporting abilities make her complex to learn.
Wait, she teleports?
Yeah. She's the only teleporting character, forget Nightcrawler.
Well, he's not in the MCU yet, so it doesn't count.
Let's see. A lot of comedy, energy to Kate. We'll have every gamer laughing out loud. There's a surprising amount of emotion and depth in both her and Hawkeye's stories. Did you see how much new users the Avengers video game got when Kate Bishop launched.
Oh boy.
I just want to say it's articles like this that make me say Kate Bishop better be really goddamn good in that TV series, which I think she might. I'm not gonna lie. It's because they put Clint Barton with her. They put freaking Jeremy Renner with her.
Like they give it a I think they give it like the continuity it needs. Like I said, I will caveat I never played the Marvel's Avengers game from Square Enix. I don't have the patience to play it. But I think that the issue is there's no continuity, like of passing of the baton that leads you to believe that this character, and it's no offense to her, is the way they structured the story, to be honest, that is like, how can we have this one person lead it all and be the leader and carry a game so heavy?
Talk about
Heavy, like,
Kamala.
yeah, like that's why I said it's nothing against her, it's against the writing. And so at least I think they're getting something right by having Clint involved in the Kate Bishop story because you can't have her without him.
Well, I'm
So,
gonna ask
you
you.
know,
Well, okay,
anyway,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's gonna be better than I think. That this is a great segue, right?
yeah.
I think it's gonna be better than I think that Hawkeye series. My concern is that this is why these articles that are just really out of touch with the people who like characters, who is out there rocking Kate Bishop gear? Who is buying a stat? Like when I always see the statue thing, right? Who is a fanatic enough to buy more than $100 worth of a statue of Kate Bishop? Like the only ones who buy a Kate Bishop statue is probably a Kotobukiya manga anime style one.
Yeah,
There's no
I
offense.
know. I don't know of anyone actually.
Like even Kamala Khan. Like again, the Marvel comic books has been hyping this woman up as the like better than the Avengers. I mean, better than the Avengers and better than the X-Men. This Miss Marvel TV series better hook me on episode 1. Otherwise, I'm just letting you go through it.
You're funny because it's a good segue for in a few seconds to our topic of Winter Soldier Falcon. But like, it's funny that you say that because I honestly felt like if you didn't get any interest from this second one, I don't think you'd continue with the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the Disney Plus world. Well, besides Loki, but I will say to you, um, yeah, I think it will all depend on how it's executed, but I agree with you on that. I'm glad they were smart enough to give us continuity of Clint Barton being in it for whatever Jeremy Renner's going through it, with his ex-wife or whatever in the news, which has since died down. But like, at least they're involving him and not just making her exist. And I do think that the casting of Haley Steinfeld was a good call on their part because, like, she's well known for some of her roles on screen. So I think that that was a safe bet for someone who's carrying, the torch from Jeremy Renner's character. So again, we'll see how it goes, but I hope they don't pull punches, is what I'm saying to your point, because like, I don't think you should, with something like this, but
She better earn it. Like she better earn the Hawkeye title. Because then I'll say, yeah, I'm okay with you with
yeah, like, 'cause it's
Disney
like, why yeah,
letting
we need
go.
to know, like, and for the people who don't know who she is, like exactly like you said, there's probably a ton of people who don't know who she is.
I
So,
I just noticed she took over the Hawkeye like
yeah, so
title.
you don't know her history or anything like that, so if you never knew, like, they really have to set the stage, let's put it that way, so
But it's articles like this, right, where they're trying to get people to like the characters that were forced upon them. Like you saw the E3, right? They focused on uh, Black Widow, Iron Man, Captain America, and Hulk. You got,
yeah.
and I didn't even play it. I'm gonna say, if you want to save this game, Square Enix, you probably have to put this thing on Game Pass because I'm not paying $30 to play as freaking Kamala Khan. I don't
Yeah.
mind Avengers game to play as Kamala Khan as my main character. Granted, you do play the other characters. I don't want to see it through her eyes. I want to see it the way I saw the Avengers. Like, you can't make her the character when you just went through the MCU's
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's
phases.
why it makes no sense. That's why
And
it's like, give me something realistic, okay? I know we're watching this and it's not realistic, but like, it's like superheroes and shit, but I'm just saying, like,
like, if
give
you
us
wanted to
something.
pass the torch, like, do it like Falcon Winter Soldier. If
Exactly.
you want to give Falcon the shield, first off, I was okay that you gave Falcon the shield at the end of the MCU. But the
Yeah.
fact that you're making him sort of semi earn it, if he becomes Captain America, who knows? I tell you what, you're doing a pretty good job with this episode, going to specific places that touches on things like Logan and Doctor Doom. Take it away, Loki. What did you?
Oh, yes. I'm glad you noticed that. So, again, we're going to enter spoiler territory, so give us about 15 to 20 minutes if you want to fast forward. But we'll try to keep it quick. Um, in a nutshell, we left off with them, and I don't take credit for this, but someone pointed it out that every ending scene in every episode ends with someone showing up in the frame. Someone new. And in last week's, it was the Baron Zemo. Baron Helmet Zemo, right? Or was that his dad? I can't remember. Anyway, Zemo is back, and our tag team partnership going on with Bucky and Falcon goes and basically breaks him free of his prison. Which, by the way, I thought he was in a floating prison, but maybe because of what happened with the snap, he ended up outside of the floating prison. Remember that? Um, so anyway, he is free because they need him to find contacts in the underworld around this super soldier serum, which we found out about in the previous episode, that somehow someone has commissioned to continue the program and synthesize it. So, and that's how these individuals with the red hand or whatever, I'm butchering the name of their group, their organization, they got their hands on it, supposedly from someone who runs the law in Madripoor. And when I say the law, that's a very loose term of like, Madripoor, if you think about it, is like Kowloon, or like everyone likens it to Singapore, but it's a fictional place. I almost think of it as Macau, but think of it, it's like somewhere near Malaysia, and it's an island nation that has its own laws. And the laws are really, if you have the money and the power, you run the law there. And so what it is our first introduction to Madripoor, which is a big deal. Because if you read the comics, Logan spent a lot of time in Madripoor. I think his wife or someone in his like relationship world was out in Madripoor too. So like, let's put it this way: Madripoor is highly like Logan centric to his story, very X-Men related. So it's interesting that they go there. Um, because it has really strong ties to the X-Men, we'll put it that way. Just to find out that the power broker, this so-called power broker, is responsible for requesting a scientist synthesize a serum, which was then stolen from them by that organization. In between, there was a lot of good banter, some hidden gems that referred to, what was it, the smiling tiger. There were some interesting quibs between Zemo and between Bucky and Falcon, because at the end of the day, Falcon was so against this, because it's just out of his character, but Bucky kind of went with it and said, look, we need this guy, we need his connections. I like the fact that Zemo actually finally brought up that he was a Baron, to which Falcon was like, how did you get all this like rich, like how, like I didn't realize you were so rich. How did you get this like private jet and a butler? And he's like, well, I'm a baron. Like it's like I'm a baron, bitches. Like it's like, and no one quite realizes that's what it is. He is Baron Zemo. He was actually born into royalty, which is something that we didn't really delve into in that, in the cinematic universe. We just knew he was a guy who was trying to avenge his family. Um, and we thought he was a soldier, but we didn't realize he was a, royalty to some extreme. Anyway, I'll leave it at that because the last thing I wanted to say about this episode was something we talked about last week, which was really around the new face of Captain America. Um, it's interesting because I think what's happening is exactly what we talked about. This person is holding a lot of weight on his shoulders because he's trying to be the best Captain America he believes he could be, and in order to do that, he has to do things, basically take extreme measures in his mind, and he's justifying these things. It sounds like when he says, "Oh, it's going under the radar," like he's justifying it in that, "Hey, this is what it's going to take to get the job done. Then I'm going to do it." The other, on the flip side, is that these individuals that have the red hand symbol, remind me, fan, what the heck their name is. I'm drawing a blank right now, but they are not as innocent either. The head leader, Carly, just bombs a whole thing of people that they tied up when they tried to steal supplies. Like, why in the world would she do that? And she answers, this is the only language they understand, but it doesn't make her any better. She thinks she's being Robin Hood, trying to save the lives of people who need these medicines or food, but she's no better than the other people who are oppressing this GRC group who's oppressing people, or trying to control the resources, if you will, in the world.
Can I just interrupt and just say, this is how you rush a bad guy and make me not either care about their motives or just not like them in general? Like, I feel
But
like,
I think we talked about this. So it's like, yes, please take over, because I feel like I've talked enough except for the ending, which we can get to later. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this episode because remember, we're in episode 3 of a 6-part mini series. So it's almost over. We're
yeah, I
halfway
mean,
done.
yeah, like, I think Carly is just the shoehorned bad guy that because she has all these powers, we're supposed to find her badass or something. And look, it's noble that she's doing all this stuff to help out the people that were snapped back. But you know what? Like Loki, his motives were more relatable, which is just messing up stuff for the hell of it, right?
Yep.
Um,
Or they were in character, if you will.
right.
Because,
Like,
yeah.
or forget the characters. Like, there's at least some reason to their madness. Who else was a good bad guy? That Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah.
Thanos is the ultimate. Like, I wouldn't say I agree with him, but I understand what he's talking about, which is like, look, you know what? The world can't sustain itself. So my crazy idea is this. There's actually been articles about, is Thanos right? Like normies out there just write articles about, is Thanos right? Which I don't agree with, but I'll say this is just, there's more to like understanding that Thanos. Like, 'cause the other Thanos that they brought back from the past when they did the whole time travel stuff,
Yep.
that was not a likable. It was interesting. Like, you could tell the difference of that Thanos. That Thanos was like not this person who believed in his cause being noble. It was just a younger Thanos who just like wanted to fuck shit up. Like, but like the one who got beheaded, right? The old man.
Yep. Yep.
That was a guy you're just like, I don't agree with, but I see where you're going. Like, this Carly character is just like this little girl who was gifted superpowers, and she's just like making it about her need to feel special. That's what I feel like. I just feel like she wants to be special because she was given a gift, which is people would love to have that, the super soldier serum,
Yeah.
and she's just going out there playing terrorist. And
Yeah, that's basically what she's turning into under the guise of, and I think that's what this episode was about, kind of like under the guise of like ends justify the means for everyone actually. So it's almost like this episode was like something about end do the ends justify the means, like because you saw Captain America, what the heck is his name again?
Wyatt,
Like Wyatt.
can we just call him U.S. Agent because that's who he is.
Yeah, we see this U.S. agent Captain America version, like basically saying that he this is all going under the radar because he's gonna complete the mission in his own terms, which is not what Steve would do. And I'm not trying to compare him to Steve, but that just shows you his flaw, his big character flaw. Like he is a guy who is very like, driven to complete his mission, but at the cost of what? And
Well,
so
what did he do right now? Like he's not like I would say the person who did it at all costs was Bucky, right?
no,
Letting
that's
Zemo out.
another one. So like again, you have another situation of do the ends justify? Did you need to free Zemo to get the information that you thought you know what I mean? Couldn't you just get it out of him a normal way? Did you need to free him? Like the other one was um, you know, did Carly need to blow up those people just to prove a point? Like they're already stealing the rations. That's going to be in the news. They already tied them up. Did she need to become the people that she hated because she has these powers? And then lastly, like I forgot, Sharon Carter suddenly shows up in Madripoor because she's hiding, but it's like
She's a
she
criminal.
helped she helped them, but there's something bigger going on with her that she's like, we have a lot going on, like bigger problems. And I'm like, what the hell is this
Bet you
about?
she's the
So
power broker.
I bet you she is. I almost thought it. Like I'm like, she must be. Because she lives in the
Yeah,
high town section. She has a cushy life. She has someone picking her up in a nice car. Like, what the heck?
yeah.
Like,
You don't be this random Joe schmo, and the only thing you're good at is doing CIA black ops stuff. And then
yeah.
all of a sudden you're living in the high end, right?
Yeah,
Like
like you were off the grid, but you're in Madripoor where they don't extradite you, but then like you have a pretty cushy life. Like I don't know, something's fishy with that. But yeah, it's all about do these things, and then yeah, Bucky. I mean, gets me to the end where we, of course, if you free Zemo, what happens? And this is where I wish Chadwick Boseman was still alive. R.I.P. Like we see one of the Dora Milaje people from Wakanda. She actually was from the movie. I forget her name exactly, but she's basically connected with Bucky and basically is like, we want Zemo because at the end of the day, you know, T'Challa gave him up because like he kind of let go of that murderous intent towards him because of what he did and let the agencies, the law agencies deal with him. But now that he's out, you know, they probably want him back. And it's like, guess what? It's time to collect because we let you guys have him and you set him free. And then Bucky, I mean, he betrayed them. They helped him. They helped him like with the freaking codes in his mind. Like clear his mind of that shit, but whatever.
yeah, they can we you may have touched on it. We touched on Madripoor, and I touched on Latvia. I just
Oh
want to
yes,
say,
I forgot about Latvia. That was the one where she bombed the people. Was it
yeah,
in Latvia or was that
yeah,
where
that
they're
was in
still?
Latvia. I just want to say that this episode has done more for Reed Richards than
Oh
that
god.
stupid article saying that the astrophysicist in WandaVision will be Reed Richards.
I
And
think that's so
this
funny.
this episode has done more at delivering promises of the X-Men than those stupid idiots telling me that this is how you introduce the X-Men, or Pietro is going to be freaking Mephisto. By the way, there's people, and they're still writing these articles. I'm sorry to do this hate stuff, but it's like you guys with your it's 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 going to be Reed Richards, and I got some random woman who I guess is this obscure character in the comics that I have no idea who it is. I'm like, why are you guys wasting my time?
No, I agree. I'm sorry I missed that part, but I did catch it. And I looked at Sirius when we were watching it. I was like, oh, Latvia, Dr. Doom. I was like, crap. Could this be the connection?
No, I'm just saying this is doing of all the connections, right, that you could have done in WandaVision, you did more with the most obscure connection, which is Captain America, the Winter Soldier Falcon. Okay,
Yeah, we
I
have the connection to Reed Richards and Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four with Latvia. We have the connection to the X-Men in
yeah,
Module
you
4.
want to bet. I'm not willing to put money down, but could you imagine that you have a Mephisto reference in this?
Oh
And
boy, that'll be
you'll
the
just say
hands
that
down.
this this series has done more for connecting the dots on more of the future of the MCU. That's the WandaVision again, great emotional story, but it didn't add to where we were going. Like we had this whole panic come to Jesus moment saying, "Where's the MCU going?" At least this show did, and I just expected this to be a fun espionage buddy cop type of thing.
Yep.
I
No,
I
you're
got
right. I,
more.
I agree with you.
That's
I
why I'm
agree with
enjoying
you.
it. By the way,
Yeah, and sadly it's only 6 episodes. But keep in mind, remember, this was if it wasn't for COVID stunting production, this was supposed to be the lead show
but
into this universe.
I'm really glad that they got WandaVision out of the way because look, it is nothing on the characters. Like I stuck around for the ride because they were the characters we. It's been 10 years, right? That whole phase 1 to 4 was 10 years, right?
Mhm.
That we grew up with those characters. Grew up. I say grew up, right? I gave them what I owed them. I gave them my time, and that's kind of where I say I'm good. I don't have to see Wanda Vision anymore. Like if I never saw them, I'd be fine.
This actually brings up a really good question for you. And I guess, and I will say this, COVID aside, like from a release point of view, do you think, and just like I said, imagine a world without COVID. I know that's like asking for a lot, but imagine if things were back to normal from a production standpoint. Do you think Disney should space it out the way they're doing it, like Disney Marvel, the way they're doing it now, or should they do like a traditional, like let's say you were watching NBC, there would be a few shows, you would watch that came on around the same week, around the same time, like for example, I watch Bob's Burgers and Family Guy on Sundays. They air at different times, but they're on Fox. They're two shows that I watch, and South Park when it was on Wednesdays. So, do you think that Disney Marvel should learn from this and try to release things to appeal to different people at the same time? Or should they stick to this schedule of like, and I get it, production times aside, should they stick to the schedule of like 3 every year, 2 to 3 every year, and that's all you're going to get?
I think so. This is interesting, is because we're living in a time where, like, you push aside the beer bug and you say, what would it be like? What is the vision of the world building
Yeah.
once you are done Endgame? The where what you and I are actually experiencing is because we keep saying COVID. Actually, the real story that we should be focusing on is how are they going to quickly grab us back into a world that we most of us are honestly okay to leave behind.
Yeah.
So Winter Soldier Falcon, those two give me reason with the actors, the way they play their character, the amount of action, the quality of the action, and quite frankly, the world building I'm getting. I'm getting so much more world building than WandaVision did, where, yeah, I got Monica Rambeau, but like, what did you give me? Like, I have no problem with Monica Rambeau as a character, and the actor played her very well. I guess for what they wanted, but I'm not excited. Like, okay, I'm like, okay, she's gonna be Captain Marvel too, but it's not like Winter Soldier Falcon where I want to see more of them. I need to see more of them because they play those characters so well. Like, Chris Evans plays Steve Rogers so well. I
Yep.
want to see more of him, though I'm okay with him not popping up anymore because I think his story is done.
Yeah.
So WandaVision didn't give me new character. Like the sons of WandaVision, I didn't care for. I was just like, okay, I get it. Like, but like I think the problem was like they were characters you respected, that you gave them your time, but they were not the people you love. And at least for me, I didn't love like Falcon when he popped up in Ant-Man. That was like one of my favorite parts because it was just the way Anthony Mackie plays Falcon that plays well off the other characters. That's the gold. That's the gold and why it works because he plays well with other characters. Not that he likes
Yeah.
them, but he plays the role so good that it plays with other characters.
Yeah.
Like Monica
No, it's
Rambeau, she didn't. She was just kind of there. And if the criticism was they made her a wallflower, I would say probably they made her. They made her that way because there's. I'm going to be honest. The Captain Marvel that they're scared of how they approach it. They may have made $1 billion, but they made $1 billion because normies thought you needed to see this to understand Endgame. You didn't,
yeah.
and now
No, but I
yeah.
think what you're saying has legs because in the sense that um I agree, and maybe WandaVision was too soon, like because what they're trying to do with WandaVision was do world building and introduce you to like
Who, Mephisto, Reed Richards.
oh god. No, but introduce you to slivers of what the world is supposed to be. But what it is it's not followed through because my only disappointment, I liked Monica's character. My disappointment was it was such a tease because it's like we only got to see like a few seconds of her in the last episode. She just got all these cool powers and that's all we got to see. We don't even know anything more other than that she's going up to space, setting up the Captain Marvel movie. But
I gotta
but
interject. I gotta interject. This honestly was a Ryan Johnson. They gave you teases of, oh, let's see more Monica Rambeau.
yes,
All she ever did was absorb a bullet. And I actually,
that's what
like I
I'm
said,
saying. It really was a Ryan
they
Johnson.
Ryan Johnson that. They gave you Ralph Boner. Okay. They
Ralph
told you to get
Bohner.
excited about an astrophysicist, and I got some random woman. I got I can't get over the Ralph Boner stuff. Like that was such a Ryan Johnson. Maybe that's what it is. Like I'm getting what it's kind of weird, right? The MCU, why it worked was sort of you pretty much got your rumors come true. That's the weird thing. I felt like all the rumors sort of came true, and it still was enjoyable. Whereas they tried to Ryan Johnson it with WandaVision, and I got something weird.
Yeah, and but they honestly, the producer or whatever says it was not his intention, but it came off that way, and yeah, like I said, that Darcy and then Randall Park's character, it just was like you reintroduced these people and you only gave them 2 minutes of fame, like, and not even. So it's like, what was the point? Like, it was so misused, is what I'm saying. Like, you have something that you could build off of, and I felt like it was misused. Like the Falcon Winter Soldier series, I believe, and I hope is building on something that will have, it sounds like, greater impact going forward, and you can feel it. Like Zemo, I don't think he's gonna go back to. I don't think. I think he might get away
I
and
think he's
like
gonna lead Hydra. He's gonna revive Hydra. I mean,
or
that'd be
whatever
interesting.
it is. We both know he doesn't like the super soldier serum, so that's what's in it for him. But at the end of the day, he's free, and like regardless of the Wakandans chasing after him, doesn't matter. He has the resources. Now that we know this, he has the resources to do what he needs to get done. So that's setting up for something in the future for Zemo.
And he's a
Um,
likable character.
yeah, we forget to talk about him in this episode because I thought that Daniel Bruhl, the actor who plays Zemo, did such a fantastic job. And I was I really like I said, I know he's not one of those redeemable villains. He really is not. He is definitely someone that the minute I think he can get away, he will, but he's seeing this through because A, I think a part of it is like honor, and B, a part of it is like kind of like he promised you, but B, part of it is he really doesn't like the whole super soldier series. I mean, I had to remember and remind myself he shot those super soldiers that were in cryo sleep in the head. So this is not a guy who is redeemable by any means, but to your point, I'm okay with him. I'm okay with
But
him.
he's almost becoming one of my likable villains, like
Yeah,
lately, which is very fascinating.
yeah,
And
like he's not someone I am going to say, "Oh, I look up to him." No. He is he is someone that I enjoy him playing the opposite to someone who is the antagonist. I would enjoy watching him as the offset because it's a villain that you feel like is believable enough to be a villain versus like what you said about Carly. It's like, oh, now I need to make myself a villain, so I'm going to do something like blowing up people because that'll really truly solidify me as the villain
but
here. But I'm not.
he doesn't impose, like, her presence does not make me like
It's
say
not
this
memorable.
series.
Yeah, like he is truly a memorable character
Like,
to,
he
you know.
walks with that freaking fur coat or
Oh my
liner,
god, I
whatever,
want that fur
and the
coat. I do.
stupid mask. I'm like, what is this mask? Like, he all of a sudden gets superpowers, but
No,
like,
it's the mask from the comics.
I
It's
know, but
awesome.
what I'm trying to say is, like, he took the time in a gunfight to put it on and then start kicking ass, and I'm like, okay, you had to turn. It was kind of corny, but my point is, like, that's a character who's a villain that I believe, like, has the ability to be cutthroat. He just randomly killed the doctor, and I have no idea why he
Oh, I
did it.
know. Well, because he doesn't want the doctor to make the serum anymore.
I don't think so. I think there's something to it. Like, there's something else, which is why my point is, as a villain, he's intriguing because there's something outside of the soldier serum, this hatred toward that. I want to be honest. There's something he's getting outside of getting out of jail. There's
Yeah, maybe
something
he's
else.
pissing off the power broker. I don't know. He seemed to be avoiding this power broker, but yet he's pissing him off by killing the scientist and putting the power broker in a position where they need to find Carly and the last batches of whatever that guy made. So yeah, it's definitely setting us up for the finale at some point to like basically provide closure to all of this. But I personally, I don't want Zemo to go back into the hand of the Wakandans, but I
You want him to get
also,
away.
yeah, I kind of wanted him to get away so I see him later, if you will.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad they didn't kill him because that's what Marvel sort of did, was like kill off their villains, and I'm like, I kind of want to see some more antagonists from
but
this.
we're the antagonists, like well, they always say like there's a worthy opponent. That is what you want to see in a villain, which is why it's tough to swallow some of the villains on other like in other situations, like we talked about Wonder Woman 1984 ad nauseum,
Oh
but
God,
the villain in that, I mean,
it was
I
grief.
couldn't, I
That was the
couldn't,
villain.
I couldn't think of him as worthy opponent to Diana, who has all these powers.
But he could be
But
better. It could be
it could
better.
be better. But it could be better.
Life is good, but it could be better.
Exactly. But I'll leave it at that. Overall, really good episode. I'm hoping it doesn't end, but it will come to an end. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
I think to wrap it up too. My final thoughts is the reason why I'm enjoying the show is outside of the actors playing characters that I have more on the hierarchy. I'll tell you what, the villain being actually, I'm calling him a villain, but right now it's the imposing Carly. You might as well have Kamala Khan be the villain because that's what they want to be. I'll tell you what, like they're doing world building with this, and that's why this is enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
WandaVision was this Ryan Johnson thing where it made you think there was a world outside of the thing we knew, but it's a bunch of malarkey. So I'll leave it at that. I mean, one thing I wanted to leave it on the MCU. Have you seen this article about Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, I did about
The
him
rumor?
not wanting. There's a rumor based on a podcast of someone who has a source that the one where he does
Yeah.
not want to be in a movie with Scarlett Johansson.
It's so funny. I always thought about this. I said, I don't. I could see him either doing it this way. He plays Deadpool and Black Widow's there, and he makes these jokes, these nasty side jokes about an ex. I could
Yeah.
see it. I could see it. Or he doesn't want to do it. And if this room, like, I'm gonna be honest, I believe the rumor. I think there's something. Look, they broke up. They weren't they really in love?
Like I thought they were, and like I think what happened was he wanted a family and she wasn't ready for that. But in a weird way, her track record, this is her third marriage actually. And
Did
I'm
she
not
have a kid?
dissing it.
She has
She
a.
had a kid after him. After
I
Ryan, she got married to a French, I
Baker
don't
or
know,
something.
producer or like, I don't know, banker. Yeah. And they had a child. Then she got divorced and married this funny guy from SNL, which is funny because Ryan Reynolds was a comedian. Like,
Oh my god!
not a comedian, but he's like, she's gonna eat this guy up. And I think they're
She
expecting a
broke his heart.
child.
She broke his heart. I'm not gonna
And
lie.
I think she broke Ryan Reynolds' heart. I honestly do. That's why he doesn't want to see her again. But it worked out for him because he ended up reconnecting with his wife. But like, you know, I don't know. I don't think something settled well between the two of them. But she, I think, was the reason.
She probably filed. She
Yeah.
filed the
So
divorce.
like, I know that at the time he wanted a family. I mean, look, he's got 3 kids and another one on the way.
Yeah, but
So like
that's a
it's
slap in the
interesting.
face. It's such a slap in
Yeah,
the face, right?
I
Like
just
she she
I
wait, she said she didn't want to have a family, and the next guy she marries, she has a
she
kid.
gets pregnant. Yeah, and I think she's pregnant with this guy, Colin something.
Oh,
Yeah, so like I said, I don't get it, but whatever. I think she's gonna eat this guy up alive. I feel bad for him because that's what she does. And like she is a Black Widow in a weird way. And I don't blame Ryan Reynolds, and I don't think they'll ever cross hairs. You know why? They killed her in the MCU.
but there's a rumor that she's gonna play Black Widow in a future movie, which is so weird.
Which could be back in the past. Again, could
I
be back
believe
in the
it. Like
past.
I wanted to address it because I really believe it. Because based on what I know about him wanting to have a family, she wanted to focus on her career, and
Mhm.
and she said, "I don't want kids." And I think she filed the divorce. He was heartbroken because I think that was like he was really into
Well,
her.
yeah, because Ryan Reynolds, believe it or not, is like a one woman type of man. He was together,
So
believe it or
weird,
not, with Alanis Morissette for the longest time.
so weird.
And that broke up. I think Alanis Morissette broke up with him.
She wanted to. Oh
And
my god, my man is probably like. Oh, I don't
yeah,
want to
and he
say.
was
Is he a
together with
beta?
her for a while. Like, because they were both from Canada.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so like, and then yeah, he was with Scarlett Johansson and they were all like, like I don't know, you call them B stars, but like I think she just did not want children and he did, and obviously he found the right person. So
Well, yeah,
that
I think Blake sort of is an interesting personality. I don't know her very well. Like I don't follow the stuff, but I Ryan Reynolds for some reason I knew a little bit more than I should. But
Yeah, but it's
I don't.
interesting how like they connected again after the movie of Green Lantern. So I feel like at the end of the day, everything was on the up and up except for the fact that they were not on the same page. Like this isn't like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith situation. This is where like
Right,
one person met someone else and they had to leave the other person. Like this was one of those like Scarlett wanted her career, but then 2 years later gets married and has a kid. And then
which
he
by the
wanted a
way,
family.
that means that she had it lined up after her divorce.
We can only guess.
It's the I mean, granted, I don't think I could see Black Widow and Deadpool being in the same. It just doesn't. It
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't fit. I really personally don't think that. Nor do I think that that was ever in the plan. So
It doesn't
they
fit.
could
So
they could have Natasha's Yelena Belova as Black Widow in a Deadpool film. I think that would be fine
doesn't.
if
But
the
it
girl
doesn't.
Florence Pugh survives the movie.
But it. I can't see it working. He's got to focus on like. Well, first off, we know that is it confirmed Deadpool 3 is going to happen?
I think they did, and that it would be
Rated
rated
R,
R.
right?
Yeah.
I haven't heard again. Captain America. I mean, the Winter Soldier, Falcon. They did more for the X-Men than
And
freaking one of these.
remember, Deadpool was Ryan Reynolds' baby. Like he worked on the second one. Like that was his he made it happen. To be honest with you, so like I'm not saying he funded it, but he made sure it happened. So for the third one, I can imagine that. It's interesting how these rumors surfaced. I don't think they needed to because, in all fairness, I don't think these two would cross paths normally. So,
I'm sure he said it. I'm
it
sure he
would be
said
a
it though.
long stretch. Maybe someone asked him or something like that. They joke with that, but like it's one of those rumors where it's like I agree, it's most likely true, but it's irrelevant in my mind because I don't envision these two characters in the MCU crossing paths. I
Because
really don't.
I'll tell you what, you will see like a bitter. I think you'll see bitterness in the way he acts if she was in the same screen as him.
Yeah.
Like, and he will play it up. Like he will play up like the ex-wife stuff and shots. I could see it. Like because he breaks the fourth wall, right?
Yep.
Like he's probably even gonna because he actually shows Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool, does he not?
I think so.
So I'm telling you, he probably will. He probably will say something real personal, like
And I don't think she would want to put herself in that situation either. So I think it works both ways. I
because you know
think
what's funny. You see a lot of Hollywood actors. They've married each other. They've
yep,
dated each other. They still deal with it, but you
yep.
never hear about it like this.
Like even
So
Jennifer Aniston had to deal with the two like Brad and Angelina for a long time before they broke up and then weirdly like everybody the rumors were swirling that they were getting back together but they weren't. But like after he divorced Angelina, but like even that relationship I can't envision those two ever working together again. But like you're
Jennifer
right.
Aniston was alpha widowed by Brad, but that's a
No,
different
I
story.
know. No, but I mean, but Angelina also ruined Brad. Like this divorce that they're having is messed up. But either way, what I'm saying is that like you're absolutely right. There are actors and actresses who are okay. They'll stomach it, but they left on terms where it wasn't so bad. This one, I personally agree with you that Ryan's heart was broken.
This is a quiet, dirt, messy one. I think
Hmm.
it was very quiet, but it was very messy. I bet you in that house.
Hmm.
I mean, I hope to God we don't hear things of a Johnny Depp level, but God,
Yeah.
can you imagine if they start doing that to him?
Ugh. Can't.
God damn. Anyway,
And
that's
so we end it there.
end it there. With that being said, hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications as we drop content. Also, we are on Twitter at Just the Sith, so reach out, give us a shout, and let us know your thoughts about our topics today. With that said, have a good one, and for those who enjoyed the weekend, um, we hope you stay safe and enjoy time with your family. Uh, we'll see you
Yeah.
then. See ya.